Hello viewers, you're welcome to this lecture on the nitrogen cycle in the aquatic ecosystem. Nitrogen cycle basically means the movement of nitrogen through nature as it moves from the atmosphere to the biosphere and back to the atmosphere. Nitrogen exists in the atmosphere as nitrogen gas, and it constitutes 78% of the gases in the atmosphere. But it is made available to aquatic organisms through several processes. We want to look at the two major processes. First, through the activities of bacteria called cyanobacteria. The cyanobacteria converts atmospheric nitrogen to ammonium in the water. Also, ammonium is readily made available when plants and animals die and being decomposed, or maybe fish feed or the food of fish or other animals also decompose. Now these introduce ammonium into the water, but ammonium is not usable by the plants, so it has to be converted to usable forms. So nitrosomonas, a set of bacteria, are responsible for the conversion of ammonia or ammonium to nitrites. Nitrites are still not usable by organisms. They are toxic to both plants and animals and has to be converted to nitrates. So Nitrobacter species bacteria are responsible for the conversion of nitrites to nitrates, which are then assimilated by aquatic plants and the algae and phytoplankton. The phytoplankton are in turn being eaten by the zooplankton, which obtain the ammonium and the nitrogen in form of protein, and then the nitrogen in them is returned to the water when both plants and animals die. The nitrogen that's locked up in the plants, in the chlorophyll of the plants, or that's part of the protein, is being introduced back to the water when the nitrogen is broken down and is released back to the atmosphere, into the water in the form of ammonium. Now the ammonium is returned back to the ammonium is then broken down by bacteria, decomposing bacteria, denitrifying bacteria such as Clostridium. The Clostridium breaks down the ammonium and converts it to nitrogen gas, which then returns back to the atmosphere. So we've looked at the processes such as nitrification, nitrogen fixation, as nitrogen is fixed by the cyanobacteria. We've looked at nitrification, where ammonium is converted to nitrites and then to nitrates. Then assimilation, the plants, the phytoplanktons and the algae absorb the nitrates and use them for various compounds. And then we also looked at how animals obtain the nitrates by consuming these organisms, and the death of these ones results in decomposition and the return of nitrogen back to the atmosphere when Clostridium breaks down the ammonia, the organic compounds, and releases nitrogen back to the atmosphere. Thanks for watching. I am Dr. Gijo Ayebapri Harry.